cold outside, but it's warm inside. The college basketball betting show is heating up. Thank you for joining me here on a Saturday. Mike Randle with you, Chief Content Officer here at FTN. Follow me on X at Randle Rand, and I have an incredible show for you today. I actually put in one more play right before the show started. We're going to be close to 50 plays. We only have 30 minutes because I want to get through it fast. Volume plus accuracy. You know the deal here. And of course, before we start, I have to get you through to the big sponsor that we have here, folks, and that is Better. You have to go to Better, folks. Use the promo code MONEY, MONEY, and you double your initial deposit match up to $500. I already put a TikTok out, had some plays for you this week, 3 for you to use for today for the NFL divisional round weekend. You'll love it. Go to Better. Use the promo code. You will not forget it. Folks, here we go. I'm going to get through it. I see the questions coming, the comments coming in the chat. I can't wait to get to them. We're going to rock and roll. Let's check it out really quick. We got Daryl here. Texas under, North Carolina over Miami, Troy spread. Of course, Daryl, you know we're going to talk about that. We'll get back to that in a minute. You know, Sanderson, Creighton money line. I don't know about that. We'll get to that one in a minute. Austin in the house here. Dayton, Archie going back to Dayton. You think I noticed that Archie Miller's going back to Dayton today? I may have done that. And LaRon, great to have you back, man, as always. Here we go. Rock and roll. 50 games. We're going to get through them a little bit under 30 minutes. Rock and roll. Here we go. Wake Forest and Louisville. Wake Forest has players back. They came back. Montesano should be active today. This line was 14.5. I put these in early this morning. It is now going the other direction. I would grab it now. I understand that Louisville has been much better lately. I understand they've been competitive. They even had the big one over Miami with the walk-on. I think those days are done. Today's theme is regression. Louisville is still 1-5 in the ACC at the bottom here. They have lost their last 2 games. They beat Miami. They lost to NC State at home, close game. North Carolina by 16. Wake Forest at home, extremely tough. Wake Forest now healthy. I think Louisville finally starts to give it back. And oh, by the way, where does Louisville go on Tuesday? They actually host Duke on Tuesday. No way. 2-unit play right at the top. Again, regression. Arkansas coming into the year was the 3rd team in the preseason poll. Everyone loved Arkansas. They have struggled now. They're only 1-3. They're 3rd from the bottom. I think they hit their rock bottom point, and I think Musselman is turning it around now, which is why this is a 2-unit play. Put in this morning 2.5. It's now up to 3.5. I put in the action app as well. Got it there. They beat Texas A&M at home. That was a big, big win, despite the fact that Wade Taylor went absolutely bonkers. Watch out for Texas A&M because Wade Taylor could have a Jordan Crawford from Xavier. Remember him like a decade ago? He could have that type of impact. I think they've hit rock bottom. I think Arkansas is on their way back. I know they struggle. They struggle on offense. Here in conference, they are the worst in offensive efficiency. They're terrible from three-point range. They're terrible from inside the arc. So this is not a feel-good pick, but you have to understand, I think South Carolina is way over their head. Kudos to Lamont Paris doing a great job. But what has he done in his last 3 games? Alabama away got their doors blown off. And Alabama's not that good. Spoiler alert. Missouri away, they won by 2, went to overtime. Missouri's not that good. And Georgia at home came in. Mike White came in and hung 74 on him at home. I think their defense is leaking. I think this is a bad spot. I think Arkansas is fired up. South Carolina has Kentucky at home for the look ahead. We are taking 2 units, Arkansas minus 2.5 against South Carolina. I love St. John's, and you may be shocked I'm going here. Patino had COVID. It's now going through the team. There's a couple players out today. I think it's Ledlam. Somebody is out today. Put in the chat if you know who it is. I forget who it is off the top of my head. But St. John's is just limited right now. I love what the Red Storm is doing, and I'm going to love them when it comes to tournament time. But right now, this is a team that is not healthy. They lost away to Creighton. They lost away to Seton Hall, and that game was not competitive. They gave up a 24-0 run to Seton Hall. They're just disjointed. They're not strong enough, St. John's, to put forth a maximum effort with Patino, with COVID, with players out. They need all their players together. It reminds me of like Virginia. You take one player out, and while you don't think it's a big deal, it actually is a big deal. They didn't cover against Hofstra when Ledlam was out. Don't like this at all. Marquette needs this win. Yes, Marquette is shorthanded, but that was a good win over a good Villanova team with Justin Moore back last time. I think we've hit the bottom for Marquette. I think they're going to start getting better. I like them plus 1.5. Alabama is not beating Tennessee today. I am telling you right now, there is a very legitimate chance that I pick Tennessee when the brackets come out to win the national title. And it's very simple. All of you will be like Pavlov's dogs, and you'll just follow Tennessee's never good. Rick Barnes is never good in March. Ba, 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 ba. They are loaded, and they have the one thing that they've been missing for the last 10 years, and that is a go-to player. I think it's the best go-to player maybe since Lofton. You can even go back further than that. I don't even know. Dalton Connect is one of the few players who has transferred up and has actually scored. He can drop 30, no problem. Alabama's defensive metrics are terrible. And oh, by the way, guess, guys, who does Alabama play coming up? Auburn. No way. This line went down to 4.5. Got it this morning. It is now going the other direction. I believe people bet it down only to bet it up. Alabama's not winning at Tennessee today. They're just not. Regression. I believe in Miami, and they've burned us. They have burned us, and this is not a feel-good spot at all. But Miami has lost 3 of their last 4. They lost at home to Florida State. They lost to Louisville with a walk-on at home. They lost to Wake Forest. I think Larinaga gets it right. I don't like Adrian Autry. I don't like the Syracuse team. It is one player and one player only. Yes, they're 3-3 in the Big East. Yes, they beat Pittsburgh away, but they also got blown out by North Carolina. They also got blown out by Duke. I think the Syracuse team is king of the little people. Judah Mintz has a massive game against a team that's not good. Miami is good. They're struggling, but they have talent. They have a great coach. I think this is a get-right spot for Miami. Again, the theme of today's picks is regression. We are taking Miami plus 1.5 at Syracuse today, the regression monster. Look, I have not liked Texas. I didn't like him at the end of last year, and it burned me. Walt Waddell here at FTN, we were arguing back and forth. I do not believe in Rodney Terry. Max Asmus supposedly got right. That team gagged away that game. That was a catastrophic loss, their last game. It was incredible. Texas at home to UCF loses. Texas on the road, West Virginia loses. They did win at Cincinnati because Dessou went nuts. Lindsey Hunter doesn't look right. This line is going the other way, and I know people always say the cliche, late movement is good movement. I'm taking Baylor. Baylor plus 2.5. I think they're the better team. I know this is a desperate spot for Texas. They have Oklahoma coming up. I like Baylor. They're also coming off a loss to Kansas State, so you're going to get a maximum effort. I think they're the better team. I think they're the better coach team, and I don't like Texas, and I haven't liked Texas all year. Not one of my best plays here. I'm not an NC State guy, but I just don't like Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech, their talent level is just below where it needs to be here. They're 2-4 in the ACC. They've lost 4 of their last 5. They lost away to Virginia, who's not great. Miami at home, when Miami's not even playing well. Florida State, Wake Forest. I like NC State here. It's a little high. I like it at 2, okay, to be honest, because I think they make it a game. NC State and Kevin Keatts never makes me feel great. They have an away game at Virginia coming up, but they beat Wake Forest at home. They hung 83. They went to Louisville. They hung 89. NC State can score. They're shooting well. 5-1 here. Kevin Keatts doing a nice job so far this year. They do make their free throws. They're shooting 80% here in ACC play. I'm laying it. Not one of my favorite plays, but I'm laying it. Who said the money line in the chat here? Oh, I'm done with Creighton. I've had enough of Creighton. You watch these Creighton basketball games. Can they attempt a shot inside the arc? All you have to do is have a big who can somewhat limit Kalkbrenner, which Seton Hall does. And you just have to realize that when they attack the basket, they are going to pivot and kick out for 3. Seton Hall, Shaheen Holloway, they got off to a terrible start this year, but great coaches matter. And Shaheen Holloway is a great coach. I think it's too many points. People are on Creighton. They think they're going to bounce back, all this stuff, yeah, etc. You thought Colorado State was bouncing back last night against UNLV also. How'd that turn out? I like Seton Hall here. I think it's too many points. I know people are expecting Seton Hall to regress. I understand that. No way. I'm taking the 3.5 with Seton Hall. Would not be surprised if we get closer to tip here that this goes back down the other way. I understand the idea with Creighton. If you like Creighton, folks, it's because you think Creighton is going to shoot the lights out, because that's what they have to do, because they get 50% of their points from 3-point range. You're going against a Seton Hall team here at home who defends the arc well, who's shooting the 3 well. They'd have to turn it over a ton, which Seton Hall can do. I believe in the Pirates. They are 6-1 in the Big East. They have Providence at home, which is not a big game now because Providence, of course, dealing with Hopkins' injury. I like them. I get it. Regression, Creighton going positive regression, Seton Hall going negative. Baloney. I'm taking the 3.5 with them there. How about Uwe Pooey, huh? How about Uwe Pooey? I think Robin Marsh stinks. I'm not a Robert Morris fan. They almost lost to Detroit. And folks, Detroit Mercy, 2 overtimes. And Robert Morris, their last 2 games, they went overtime at home against Purdue Fort Wayne and won. They went double overtime against Detroit Mercy and won. Now they're going on the road to IUPUI. That Detroit Mercy team hasn't won a game yet this year. I know Jaden Stone's back, but IUPUI has played better. They played Green Bay at home. They kept that game close. They ended up playing Youngstown State away. They only lost by 10. They played Purdue Fort Wayne away. I think Uipui keeps it close. And with the icing on the cake here is it's this magic 5.5 number. You're on the road in the Horizon League or in a conference game and you're giving us 5.5 points. I'll take it, no problem. Revenge spot here, Ohio State against Penn State. Never like laying this many points with Ohio State because their offense isn't fantastic. But these teams played Penn State away. They lost by 3, 83-80. So when in doubt, what I like to go to is the reverse effect. You take the opposite team that lost the first game because it's just very hard in this league, in this time of parity in college basketball to win both games. Big spread. You're going to see that Penn State won the last game. You're going to say, oh, I'll take the 9.5. I'm going to lay the 9.5. No Matt Cross in this game. He is out with a tooth issue, I saw. I'll take G-Dub plus 6.5. The UMass, shout out to my brother-in-law, Joe Polino, will be at the game there, rooting hard for UMass. UMass has hit the skids. Very frustrating. They competed well against Loyola Chicago. That would have been a huge win without Cross. I don't like UMass without Cross. That's the issue. If Cross was here, I would take UMass. They're shorthanded. G-Dub, again, has had some bad luck. G-Dub had the situation where they ended up playing at home, G-Dub, and it was playing Fordham. And in that matchup, very difficult. They ended up losing 119-113, and Fordham had 19 threes in that game. So if it wasn't for a 3-point bonanza by Fordham, you're looking at a G-Dub team that would actually be 4-0 in the A-10. Little overachieving here, going on the road, but they did beat VCU on the road. They've played some tough teams. I like G-Dub. I just think it's too many points now. Let's get to some questions. The comments are flying, guys. I don't want to ignore your questions. I apologize here. Let's see. Sanderson, yeah, Golden Eagles. Yeah, I love the Golden Eagles as well. Jordan Dingle. Thank you, Brian. I apologize. Yes, Jordan Dingle is out, which is critical. COVID is going through the team. There's 2 guys on the bench, but Dingle is the other key guy. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's another reason I like them as well. Sanderson, listen, you stick to your prior, Sanderson. If you like Creighton, that's fine. I mean, I get it. Creighton's not going to lose every game. I just think Seton Hall is really that good. I think it's too many. What is the 1 or 2 plays you like the most today? No problem, dude. I will get back to that at the end. We'll do that at the end, dude, okay? Because we got about 15 minutes left, so I want to make sure to get it. Rob Morris looked terrible against Detroit Mercy. They absolutely did. LeBron, 5.5. I like it. I like it, LeBron. I'm taking it. It's going the other way. UMass at home is tough, and it's very tough to win on the road. So when you're going into a game here in a conference game, you're saying, my God, can they really win on the road? No Cross is a big deal. I love Frank Martin. If it gets a little lower, I don't know if I'd go to 3.5, 4. I don't know if I'd go there, but it's a lot of points. I will take them as well. Let's keep rolling here, folks. A lot of games to talk about. Yeah, the Archie Miller revenge spot. I have found this in my handicapping also, that when I track a team and I like them and I believe that they're going in a positive or negative direction, sometimes I'm off by 1 game. And I don't want to jump off. I want to stick to my belief. Rhode Island was playing much better. They beat Northeastern. They beat St. Joseph. They went away to Davidson. They beat UMass at home. Then they went to St. Bonaventure, and I took them last week. I took them on Wednesday, getting 10. They got their doors blown off. I'm going back to them here. That could have been a look-ahead spot with Archie Miller's return. They're getting an awful lot of points here, 13.5 against Dayton. I know everybody loves Dayton. Dayton's 14-2. They're 4-0 in the A-10. They got the nation's 3rd longest winning streak. Deron Holmes is great inside. But, Rhode Island is pretty darn good on the offensive boards. So I think they're going to be able to battle a little bit inside to limit Holmes as well. Archie Miller's ready to rock and roll. Always going to be a battle here with Archie going back there. Last year, Rhode Island beat Dayton at home 75-70. So this is a big one for Archie. He's going to have them ready. I'm going to say that the last game was a letdown spot. Could Rhode Island, who lost 5 straight games before winning 4 straight games, could they be the team that was bad and that was the team who they really are? Yes. But I think Archie's a good coach, and I think the St. Bonaventure game was just a mess up. I'm sticking with Rhode Island because I rode them with St. Joe's, Davidson, and UMass prior to that. Also like Gardner-Webb. Winthrop now going on the road. I like Gardner-Webb here, and I don't think Winthrop is at the level that they normally are under Mark Prosser. They did lose at home to UNC Asheville. That was a big game, and they lost it. They beat Radford in 3 overtimes. Law of efforts, as Gus Kearns from the Screen the Screener podcast, who will be back on with us again real soon, as he likes to say. Winthrop, Longwood at home, won in overtime. USC Upstate away, brutal, won in overtime. Presbyterian won by 10, fine. Radford, 3 overtimes. UNC Asheville was up big, lost. Now they go to Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb is super fast, get up and down the floor, likes to push, has won their last 2 games, including Presbyterian and Radford. They're trending in the right direction. It's a pick. I'm taking them. Yeah, I'm crazy. Okay, I'm crazy. That's fine. I'm taking Fordham against Loyola Chicago. I don't like Loyola Chicago. They've been better than I thought they will be. Fordham coming off a loss. Boy, I've been terrible with Fordham games. So caveat emptor on this pick is what I'm saying. I have been terrible with Fordham games, but I'm going back to them here. Ergo has lost his last 2 home games to LaSalle and Davidson. Here comes Loyola Chicago. I like Fordham here. I just don't trust Loyola Chicago on the road. They've played well. They're not great at defending the 3, and they don't make a lot of free throws. This year on the season in conference, in the A-10 conference, Loyola Chicago, absolute worst in the A-10, 63.3%. So again, you know my deal. Teams that don't make free throws going on the road, don't like them at all. Rivalry game here. I'm going to take VMI plus 10. VMI can light it up. They like to shoot the 3. Citadel on the road by 10 and not buying it. I'm taking a rivalry here. I'm taking VMI plus 10. I like Porter Moser. I think the hate's gone too far. Cincinnati's great, but they're not perfect. And I think the hate's gone too far here. This is a good Oklahoma team that has lost 2 of their last 3, but they did bounce back against West Virginia with a win, and they got us a cover as well. They have struggled on the road, but similar to Mississippi, who we'll get to shortly, I just don't think you continue to struggle on the road forever. I don't. I think good coaches like Chris Beard, like Porter Moser, figure it out. Everyone's going to be on Cincinnati here. Everyone's going to love Cincinnati. Wes Miller, tremendous. They just beat TCU at home in overtime. Great win. But Oklahoma runs a lot of good stuff, really solid, great at defending the 3 as well. So Cincinnati's not going to be able to shoot the 3 real well. Cincinnati also not great from the free throw line. Worst in the Big 12, 62.4%. I think that catches up to them at some point. Grab this one last night. I don't know where it is right now. San Diego State, Boise State. Guys, this game is, I think, at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which means it's like 11 p.m. out of Boise. Not buying it at all. Going with the under here in this matchup. Boise State, San Diego State, huge matchup here. It's just earlier in the day, I believe, than most would think. I like Boise at home. They're solid on defense. They've been really solid here defensively within the conference. Boise State is number 1 defensively within Mountain West play in their 4 games on defense. You know how good San Diego State is, and you also know San Diego State struggles to score sometimes. So I grabbed this at under 137.5. Who's going to win? I have no idea, but I'm going to take the under in this matchup. I think Army stinks. I think Navy wants to get back Army, okay, for the football game. I think Army stinks. Just haven't been impressed with them at all. I'm taking Navy minus 6.5. It's a lot of points in a rivalry game. I get it. You don't want to touch it. No problem. I'm taking Navy minus 6.5. Do I need to explain this one? To anyone who's watched this show, do I need to explain this one? Bradley at home. The Hulk gift, the Hulk smash. You'll see it on X on my account. Bradley at home. Belmont, not where they normally are, laying 10.5. It's a lot of points. Iowa State. I know we don't like Iowa State, and I know they've been a little cool lately, and then the player who was ejected against BYU. But Iowa State's well coached. So is TCU, by the way. But I'm going here with Iowa State with the 4.5. And I would not think that this 4.5 is going to stay around there much longer. They are too good metrically. Yes, they lost to Oklahoma on the road. Yes, they lost to BYU on the road when the player got kicked out. But it's still an Iowa State team that beat Houston. It's still an Iowa State team that pounded Oklahoma State. It's still an Iowa State team that's great at defending inside the arc. And it's not like TCU is great from three-point range. TCU has to score inside. They are 326 in the country, TCU, at getting points generated from three-point range. They're not a great three-point shooting team. Everyone's going to like TCU. I know they lost away, but they also beat Houston. They beat Oklahoma. I think it's too many points. I'm taking Otzelberger here on the road plus 4.5. You know I'm going my Western Carolina team. Western Carolina, only reason they lost that game against Samford is because of Chor went 5-9 three-point range when he's hit 17 total three-pointers in the last 2 seasons combined, which means a Chor from Samford averages 8.5 3-pointers per season, and he goes 5-9, drops 34, 35 points in that game. I'm going back to Western Carolina. It's a big battle here. I know Furman at home is tough. I'm going to take them as well. Ivy, rival, Brown, home, magic number, 5.5, all you need here. I love Cornell. Laying points on the road is tough. Brown has been playing well lately. They can play good defense here. Cornell's going to have to go on the road. Brown, I believe, I'll look this up. I think they beat them last year at home too. Brown's coming off a big one away at Harvard. Brown played Cornell last year. Did they beat them? Yeah, they beat them at home 80-66. Brown under Mike Martin has done a nice job this year. Within the Ivy, they are great at defending the three. Brown is number one in the Ivy League at defending the three-pointer. They're allowing teams 22.2%. And those are some teams that can shoot it, like Vermont. They should have won the game against Vermont as well. Cornell, magic number, 5.5, not buying it. I've watched Cleveland State a lot, and this is not for the faint of heart, but I think Cleveland State needs a win in the worst way, and I think they're going to get it at home today. This is not an easy game in the horizon. Cleveland State, terrible from the free throw line, but they're great on the offensive boards, and they're great at forcing turnovers, and they have 2 straight losses. They were up huge. They played Milwaukee, and I didn't bet that game, thank God. Cleveland State was up 37-18 in the first half against Milwaukee and then lost that game to Milwaukee. Then they played a good Green Bay team away, and they lost that one as well by 8. Now they're coming home. They need a win. They've been good at home. They beat Northern Kentucky at home. They beat Oakland at home. They beat Western Michigan at home. They dropped 90. They've done a good job. I think they're going to get right here against Purdue-Fort Wayne, who's lost 4 straight games and just gives up a ton of points, Purdue-Fort Wayne. And Cleveland State can score. They're going to shoot threes on the break. They get up and down. They're a little crazy, but at home, I don't think Purdue-Fort Wayne is disciplined enough this year. Purdue-Fort Wayne lost to IUPUI. Keep that in mind. At home to IUPUI. We're taking Cleveland State. How about my guy King Rice down at Monmouth? I think he bounces back here. Monmouth has competed really well. In fact, if you look at teams against the spread this year, Monmouth is, 5th best. Monmouth, 13-4-1 against the spread. It's Minnesota, Cal State Northridge, Eastern Washington, my guy Troy, and Monmouth 13-4-1. So Monmouth has actually competed well. They've played some tough games also. People think it's just Xander Rice. It's not. They've lost 3 straight games. Look who they've played. UNC Wilmington away, not easy. Charleston away, not easy. Drexel away, not easy. Only lost by 4. I think they come home and get it right. The last time we saw them home, they blitzed Northeastern by almost 20. They beat a good Towson team by 8. They beat Manhattan. They beat Rider. They've played well at home. They even played Seton Hall away, and they covered. I like this Monmouth team. It's a lot of points. I think Hampton stinks. I think they get it right. Temple shouldn't be favored by 4 points over anyone. If you get myself, Mike Kutry, who's at his alumni game today, by the way, Frank Brank, you get 5 of us together at FTN. Temple's not going to cover 4. I'm taking Rice plus 4.5. It's a lot. It's a lot. I just don't like UCF, and I like Houston a lot. UCF coming off the big win over Texas. I just think when you go to Houston, you don't know what you're in for. You have to you cannot recreate what you're going to get against Houston. And what I love in this matchup, which is really interesting, is remember last year, Houston and UCF were both in the AAC. So they both came over to Big 12 here. So they know each other well. I get the familiarity thing, but my issue is Houston wants to win the Big 12. Houston wants to win a national title, Final Four aspirations. They lost to Iowa State. They lost to TCU. They can't afford to be sleepy here. They can't afford to mess around with UCF. So if you had Houston undefeated, they were 4-0 in the Big 12, and then here UCF's coming in, you want to say it's a sleepy spot? No problem. They can't afford it. They got to get right. I think they eventually pull away and do cover this number, even though it's a lot. UMass Lowell is much better. They look back to normal to me. Remember Koulibaly, they were playing so well to start the year, and then Koulibaly got injured. He came back, and this is a momentum play here. I think UMass Lowell is really good and has underachieved. They struggled against UMBC, they didn't cover. They struggled against NJIT, they didn't cover. They struggled against New Hampshire, but they weren't full strength. They pounded Albany away, who's a much better team than Binghamton, hung 97 on them. That second half, to me, has propelled them moving forward. They have Vermont at home coming up, which is a big game for UMass Lowell. It's only 5. I think Binghamton stinks. Binghamton in the conference is the worst team in the America East at three-point shooting. They're the worst team at the America East in forcing turnovers, and they're the worst team in the America East at free throw shooting. No way. I know it's 5. It's uncomfortable. I'm taking UMass Lowell. Let's keep rolling here. A lot more games to go. Air Force plus 11 at home. I don't think New Mexico can win by 11 points on the road. I love New Mexico. They're a great team. I think it's very hard for anyone to win by 11 at home. Kansas on the road to win by 11, not buying it. Air Force slows it down. Possessions, down screen, patience, kick out, just too many points. I'm taking them there. One of the hottest teams in college basketball that you do not know about is Louisiana. South Alabama got us with Scott Cross. Great win. You stopped Troy's cover streak. Fantastic. Now they're home against Louisiana. Not buying it here. They have beaten Marshall. They've beaten Troy. I get that. But the South Alabama team, still not great on the offensive boards, still not great on defense. And Louisiana, very quietly, has won 3 of their last 4 under Bob Marlin. Louisiana, always a top team in the Sun Belt. They were 7-7, 0-2 after losing to James Madison home. No shame in that. They've gotten it right. Coastal Carolina away. Coastal Carolina home. Arkansas State away. Texas State away. And they covered that game, no problem. They're hot. Louisiana, this is one of my favorite plays. Whoever asked that before, one of my favorite plays, Louisiana plus 1.5 today against South Alabama. Jaden Stone is back. They should have won the last game, lost in triple overtime. I'm taking Detroit plus 10.5 against Youngstown State. There is no way that I'm taking Mike White on the road against Kentucky. Right now, if you gave me 3 teams to win the national title, Tennessee is one of them, and so is Kentucky. Kentucky is good, really, really good. Best team since Calipari has won the national title. Tremendous team here. Love this Kentucky team. We're taking it. For those who don't know the narrative here, let me explain this narrative to you. Last year, UNC Wilmington played Charleston. They lost by 2 at home the first time. UNC Wilmington goes on the road and plays Charleston and gets their doors blown off. UNC Wilmington plays Charleston in the conference finals to get the NCAA tournament, was up 8 with about 5 minutes left and absolutely self-destructed. Triple revenge, payback here. UNC Wilmington, the Seahawks, you know how much I love them. Beat Kentucky on the road, all that stuff. Charleston. Now, the thing that makes me a little frisky about this game is that unfortunately, Charleston lost their last matchup at home to Towson. So if they had beaten Towson, this would have been an even bigger slam, probably a 2-unit play. It's only a 1-unit play because Charleston did lose, so you know you're going to get maximum effort from them here today. I like UNC Wilmington going with them as well. I don't think people realize how good Green Bay is. Green Bay is great at pace. They've done a very disciplined job. I like Northern Kentucky here, so I'd be careful with this in the horizon. Green Bay is 7-2. They're on the road here at Northern Kentucky, but Green Bay under Sundance Wicks has done a tremendous job. They are number 1 in the horizon in three-point shooting, 42%. They are number 1 at the horizon at defending the three-pointer, 29%. They are great at shooting free throws, 77%. They are a very disciplined team. I love Northern Kentucky. We picked them against Wright State. We got the cover, no problem. They're playing really well. We took Northern Kentucky against Milwaukee, got the cover, no problem. I just think Green Bay's playing too well right now, and I'm not giving up on them. This is a close game. It's 4.5. I'd love it to get to 5. I'm taking Green Bay as well. I think Milwaukee stinks. I have faded Milwaukee over and over again, and I will continue doing it. Just don't trust Milwaukee. I don't like their stats. Look at their metrics. They don't defend the 3. They're not great on offense. They're good on the offensive boards, but they don't force turnovers. Wright State is usually great at home under Scott Nagy. They have lost 2 straight games, Wright State, to Youngstown State and Green Bay. They lost at home to Green Bay, which is inexcusable. I think they light up Milwaukee today. I wouldn't be surprised to see them get to 100. You want to go over in this game, I have no problem with it at all. Another team I believe in is Ben Jacobson in Northern Iowa. Again, coaches that are underachieving, I like to target them because I know eventually they'll get it right because people just give up on them. Northern Iowa, Ben Jacobson, 3-7 to start the year. And what have they done since then? They've won 7 of their last 8. They beat Belmont, Murray State, Illinois, Chicago, Missouri State. Only game they lost was at home to a really good Indiana State team. They're not getting tripped up by Southern Illinois here. Southern Illinois struggled against Drake. They were a big Southern Illinois against Bradley. Big game against Bradley. They were up by like 12, 14 points. Bradley comes back and wins on Wednesday, but does not get the cover because they're favored by 1.5. Brutal. But I think Southern Illinois, law of efforts here. Struggling against Drake, struggling against Bradley. They do rely heavily on Xavier Johnson, who is a wonderful player, but Northern Iowa is hot. Watch out for Northern Iowa. I am with them as well. Jeff Capel stinks. I hate Jeff Capel. Don't like what he's doing. He's horrific. And I know last year he had a great, great year. I think that was lightning in the bottle. Now you have a Duke team here at home. I think they cover this no problem. There's no look ahead for Duke. They have Louisville coming up. Pittsburgh just lost 4 of their last 5. Don't trust them. I may be close in the first half because Capel gets them fired up because he's an alum, not buying it. Middle Tennessee State is horrific against the spread and horrific on the road. Pacific is the worst team in college basketball, 3-15 against the spread. Middle Tennessee State is 3-13. New Mexico State playing better, really impressive job after the season was cut short last year with all the off-the-court issues. They're back. I like them as well. I'm going with Seattle, 5.5 here against Grand Canyon. The key is we have to figure out with Seattle, and I think he's going to play. I'm not positive. Cam Tyson is tremendous. He was out. I think he had a hamstring, had some sort of injury. He's missed the last 2.5 games, and Seattle has lost all 3 of them. They lost to UT Rio Grande by 1 in overtime. They lost to UT Arlington, and they lost to Stephen F. Austin in overtime. This is a rivalry game. Seattle likes to battle Grand Canyon. If Tyson is back, this game is going to go down to like 3.5. I'll take it right here. I like San Francisco. I think San Francisco is a sleeper to win the WCC. They score a ton at home, and St. Mary's will not keep up with them. I'm taking San Francisco plus a pick. You know we're fading Stan Johnson. We always fade Stan Johnson. Still no Justice Hill. He's on the road. We got the cover with San Francisco. I'll go back with Pepperdine here. Gonzaga usually does not cover big spreads. Gonzaga is not that type of team. San Diego has been somewhat annoying this year. They've been a little frisky, and they've played well. So as much as we like Gonzaga, I just think 17 is an awful lot. This smells to me like a Gonzaga 12-point win. San Diego actually shoots a 3 well. They're number 1 in the West Coast Conference under Steve Lavin, 41% from three-point range. They are going to be fired up in San Diego for this game. I just think it's too many points. Illinois State stinks. I like Missouri State at home to get it right. They can score. They can shoot threes, and they're very good at home in this spot against Illinois State, who I think is dead. Couple other games. We're going back to Scott Cross. Scott Cross, again, let us down against South Alabama. I don't think he's going to miss 2 covers in a row. Now, Southern Mississippi is frisky, but you saw Andre Curbelo walking around with the fancy outfit on the sideline. Southern Mississippi without Curbelo is very different than him with it. If for some reason Curbelo is healthy and plays, I think it was a concussion, then this is probably off, and I'm not betting it. But I'm going to wait right up till game time. I'm going to see if the line starts moving and we find out that Curbelo is not playing. I'll go back to Scott Cross. Achur, I defy you. You can find a prop out there to go under an Achur. Do it in 2 seconds because 35 points, 5 of 9 from three-point range, totally ruined our game against Western Carolina. I'll take Mercer plus the 13.5 here in sort of a letdown spot. Stanford is great. They get up and down the floor, but they turn the ball over. They can struggle on defense. I'm not buying it. Sort of a letdown spot here for Stanford. God, I don't like Virginia. You know that. Down screen, back screen. But it's Damon Stoudemire. It's a Georgia Tech team that has not played well lately. They got off to a good start, and then they've struggled. And I think we're now at the point where the Virginia hate has gone too far. That's what this is. This is a buy low spot. Virginia did win at home against Virginia Tech. That got them right. They had lost 3 of their last 4 prior to that. Yes, they struggle on offense. I just don't think a Georgia Tech team that right now has lost 5 of their last 6. They did have the nice double overtime win away at Clemson, but they're not good on defense. They don't force turnovers against Virginia. That's a death sentence. They score most of their points here. They like to shoot from three-point range, and they're good inside the arc. But I think this Virginia defense is better. I just think they're better coached. I think they're more experienced coach, and I think they're good enough on defense. It's a buy low spot. I don't think Mississippi is going to continue to be terrible on the road. And as I mentioned to you, Auburn has Alabama coming up. This is a lower scoring game. I think Mississippi keeps it low. Beard's a great coach. I know the hate for Mississippi is now going. Their metrics are terrible. They're not great on the road. It's gone the other direction. I'm going with Mississippi and taking the 12.5. And the last pick here, God bless Jeff Jones. He's out for the rest of the year, had the heart attack. God bless you. Hopefully you're doing okay, coach. Old Dominion is supposed to be much better than they were. They struggled. They really got right last game and got rolling. Louisiana Monroe is just catastrophically bad on metrics. So I'll take Old Dominion, who finally righted the ship after losing. God, they lost 10 of 11 games, but then they pounded Marshall at home 91-66. Now, do you think they're going to go back the other direction? They could. It's just Louisiana Monroe is the absolute worst team in the Sun Belt. They are 0-6. They are 4-12. The last team that Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, beat was Champion Christian, which is not even a Division I school. And then before that, they barely beat Northwestern State at home. I just think Old Dominion wins that game. Let's get to the comments here, and then we will get out of here, guys. Thank you for your patience. Let's see what we got here. We'll go right through it. LaRon likes TCU. It's fine. It's fine. I believe in Osselberger, LaRon, and sometimes I attach to these coaches way too much, and I'm too intense on them. But I think 4.5 is way too many points. I'm an Ergo guy, Ben. I'm glad. Listen, Keith Ergo, I don't know him personally. Maybe he's a great guy. It's just I've been a little nervous with Keith here. but I don't know if they're going to lose again at home, a third straight home loss. I think they'll be ready to go. Last question, Randle. Any leads on NFL playoff sides? I put my articles out on the site here, dude. You got to look it up. I got Houston. I love Houston. I love San Francisco. Houston getting the points. San Francisco laying the points. And I love the Bills. I think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl. Hopefully that helps as well. Let's see. Nothing on Cam Tyson. Yeah, I'm not sure, Trevor. If he plays, I'm going to love Seattle. I think I like him either way because it's still a lot of points. But we talked about Troy Larod. I'm going back to it here. Carbelo's game time decision. I'm going to wait on that pick. If Carbello plays, I don't know. I think it's kind of a stay away. Ben, I'm sorry I missed Oh, congratulations, Ben. You had a child born. This is great. Congratulations, man. That's fantastic. Let's see what we got. Trevor, UVA, average margin on the road for UVA. That one win was, yeah, I get it. I get it, Trevor. I just believe in Tony Bennett. And again, is Virginia going to be terrible the entire year? Is Virginia going to continue to be bad? I don't think so. And for them to get it right, wouldn't it be right against sort of a new coach, a relatively new coach in David Stoudemire and a Georgia Tech team that isn't great metrically? They can go a lot of spurts without a lot of turnovers. This is sort of the spot here. Trevor, thoughts on FSU? And yeah, God, my problem with the FSU game is that at some point Clemson is going to get going. Usually my rule with FSU is I'm going to back them when they're doing poorly, and I'm going to fade them when they're doing well. Clemson is going to get right at some point. Clemson has lost 4 of their last 5. That's why it's a stay away for me. As far as Villanova, this one was tough as well. I like Connecticut, but Villanova plays at a slow pace, and Connecticut is due to have sort of a struggle here. They've just dominated so much that it's sort of a buy low spot. It's a desperate Villanova team. To me, it's a stay away as well. I didn't want to get into that as well. Mikey, are you sold on Tennessee? Sanderson, I am. I think Tennessee's that good, and I don't like Alabama's metrics are terrible. They're going to shoot the 3. It's going to be Estrada. God forbid someone gets in foul trouble. I don't think Alabama's got the chops to win on the road to Tennessee today. That's what it is. Daryl, top 3 bets. You asked this before. I'm very sorry. Let's go back to it. Top 3 bets. Daryl wants to know. Let's see. I like Arkansas against South Carolina. I don't think South Carolina is going to win this game on the road. I do like Tennessee. I know the line is creeping up, but I like Tennessee at home against Alabama. And the other one I'm going to go with, where's that Louisiana one? Because I love them, and they are scalding hot right now. There it is, Louisiana, South Alabama. So those are my Those are my top 3 if you want them as well. Do you think I still think they do, dude. I do. Charleston, the loss bothers me a little bit, but this is a triple revenge spot for UNC Wilmington. So they've been hot. I am on them as well. Western Carolina, Brian, I like them because if a Chore doesn't have a million freaking points and go nuts from 3-point range, they probably win that game, and the spread is totally different. Let's see what else we got. Sorry, guys, going through a lot of comments here. I appreciate it. Daryl likes the Niners first half in the over. I like the Niners too. I think the Packers defense just isn't enough. That's the problem. That is pretty much it. Harvard, Penn. LeBron, I'm not thrilled with Steve Donahue. He used to coach at Boston College. Amaker's a really good coach. They've struggled all year. Mack is back, the freshman for Harvard. For me, it's a stay away. I think Penn, it's a 2.5-point spread. No issue there as well. We're battling, Mike. Go Pack, go. You got it, brother. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Ran over 39 minutes as always. Saturday, 10:30s. Join us next week, same time. Wednesday, Thursday at 2 o'clock. Saturday on 10:30. NFL is slowing down. College basketball is picking up. Remember, Mike Kutri's in the house. He's got all those props in there. Frank Brank put a ton of picks in there. I've never seen Frank Brank put this many picks in. It was fantastic today. As always, grab a coffee, enjoy the games. Good luck, and always, let's get to the window.